Right, that should be all set up. Hopefully, if the what is it? How many people watching can see me? Say hello. Got my TARDIS mug here, setting the theme quite well, I hope. And I've got Kevin the Cube here as well, a little squishy cube. So yeah. Right, let's get on with it because I thought I'd do this as a live stream, primarily because I made a little bit of a promise. Oh, not a promise, but I said on my last Doctor Who review that I was kind of done covering the modern era, the RTD2 era, mainly because I don't want to be a beacon of negativity. It's kind of a little bit. I don't want to be the downer of the Doctor Who fandom. I think there's enough of that going on. Sorry, I just want to make sure that everyone can hear me. Yeah, there we go. Okay, we got it. But yeah, I think there's enough negativity and toxicity going on in the Doctor Who fan world, so I don't really want to add to that. So I kind of thought let's not cover the war between, because I probably won't like it. It's co-written by Pete McTighe, who I've had my issues with on the show. Is it Pete McTighe or Pete McTighe? I can never pick a lane there. I don't know which is right. If anyone can correct me on that, that would be appreciated. But yeah, I just thought this probably isn't going to be for me. I'm not 100% on the premise. The first spin-off you make is a Sea Devil one. And they're not even Sea Devils. Well, for the longest time, the only issue we had... Sorry, I'll take down OBS because that probably looks terrible. The only issue we had was... The image that we had was this. Of Salt. So... that was a little bit disheartening. It was we had the Sea Devils, 3 years ago? And they retain the essence of what they looked like, and now this is them. Wasn't a fan of the design, I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, I don't know, all roads sort of pointed to the direction I wasn't going to be a fan of this, and I probably wasn't going to be a fan of any more Russell T Davies penned Doctor Who for a while, but I am unfortunately a member of the sunk cost fallacy. Sorry if you can hear. Can I not? Oh man, that's kind of annoying. Can I not get the chat on its own? I'll figure out this YouTube thing at some point. I've got my phone next to me, so that's fine. But yeah, I'm unfortunately a member of the sunk cost fallacy, so I kind of knew I was going to watch this anyway, even if I didn't have much interest in it. And here we are. 4 episodes are out and about, and I've seen them all. I caught up this morning on episode 4, and I've got to say, I'm quite surprised, pleasantly surprised actually, because it's really weird talking to a camera. I think I've used this webcam once before, in the few years that I've had this computer and kit, so I'm not used to looking up there. Hopefully I'll get used to it as the stream goes on. I usually don't have an eye line when making things. I kind of just read off of a script that I've got on there, but clearly we're off script today, so I apologise about that. So yeah, I'm quite pleasantly surprised by this show. I think let's just pull up the episodes real quick. I hate that IMDb do this. It's like, oh, these episodes are the top rated, but they're not. They're not the top rated one. Oh well, okay. So yeah, let's do a little bit of a deep dive here. That pun was intended and really bad. I'm sorry. Yeah, let's do a little bit of a deep dive and cover the episodes. For those of you that I can see tuning in now, hello. Glad that you are here joining the discussion with us. I'd be interested to know everyone's thoughts on this show. Everyone that's watching, by the way, if you want to chat in the chat or whatever, let me know what you think about the War Between. Because yeah, one of my favorite things about being a YouTuber is actually the discussion that comes with it. And I don't know, I feel like a lot of YouTubers, this isn't a dig, but I feel like a lot of YouTubers kind of ignore that part of the platform. But I really like being able to talk to people and share opinions in a most of the time controlled and friendly environment. Obviously, that's not always the case, as I have also experienced. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. So, episode 1, and I believe this is the only episode so far penned by Russell T Davies. If I'm not wrong, the finale is penned by Russell T Davies. Sorry, my eyesight is awful, so I'm just making sure that, like, I'm scanning over this right. Does it say written by him anywhere? Not in the cast. It's not up there. I imagine it will be with all cast and crew. Writer, yes. Okay, so Russell T Davies is the writer for episode 5. What about episode 4? Because I wasn't sure. Okay, well, maybe let's Wikipedia this. Let's because this will know. IMDb can sometimes be a little bit. Right, here we go. It says that episode 4 was penned by Russell T Davies and Pete McTighe. Pete McTighe. Someone please help me out. Yeah, but I'm unsure about that because the credits at the start of the episode just said Pete. So, yeah, I don't know about that one. If anyone can let me know, did Russell T Davies co-write that or not? That would be appreciated. Because my research skills are abysmal, if you can't already tell. So, anyway, episode 1, Homo Aqua. Yeah, first off, it's got to be said. Is that? Yeah. Great actor. Very Shakespearean presence. Colin McFarlane. I will say his American accent is very caricature American in a way. Like when you picture a US military general, this is the guy that you imagine. Either him or like Sean Penn from One Battle After Another. But yeah, I my first big criticism is some of this guy's dialogue. It's not an issue with his line reads necessarily. It's just very cheesy American general. You know, a little bit. It's like in is it episode 3? He says, as a great man once said, we can be heroes. Let's go save the world. And it's like, oh god. You know, it's a little bit it's a little bit cringe, it's a little bit cheesy. But yeah, let's talk about episode 1 as a whole. I'm getting sidetracked. I thought it was alright. Yeah, I thought it was alright. I had issues with it, particularly in the realm of the dialogue. I thought it was a little bit on the nose at times, and I know that the premise of the show is like it can't help but be on the nose because it's literally I think Russell T Davies said in an interview this is like the sea devils or Homo Aqua, I guess, are the personification of the ocean. These are like if the ocean could suddenly talk and say, "What the fuck have you been doing to us?" So you know the very nature, the very notion of the show, it can't help but be on the nose, which is fine. I mean, you know, I'm not going to criticize it for that, but I think sometimes the dialogue is really trying to hammer home a point that is kind of made very clear by the very premise of the show, if that makes sense. So, you know why? It feels almost congratulatory, like a little pat on the back type thing, especially when you've got I couldn't tell you the character's name, I'm very sorry. Yes, Steve Chesney, played by George Robinson, who is in Sex Education, right? I'm not mistaken there. Yes, yeah, the guy from Sex Education. Love him. He's great. Particularly, he's great at playing a dickhead in Sex Education. But some of his dialogue. Oh, no. I think there's a line in episode 1 which is when Salt comes forward and starts speaking English, and Steve Chesney is saying like, "Did we bother to learn their language? No, we didn't." Yeah, that's all well and good, but this is like it's not an alien species, but this is a completely new species that humanity has just discovered. And you've had like one conversation with them, and most of it is them just going ee, making weird sounds, right? How the fuck do you expect to learn the language? You've got a translator. Did anyone actually expect them to learn the language? No, they fucking didn't. So, shut up. I get the point. English-speaking countries are very ignorant and negligent towards other languages, to the point that some idiots will literally like go to Spain and be like, why don't they speak more English here? Yeah, that's a whole different can of worms. But in this instance, dude, shut up. Just shut up. It doesn't make sense to be making that point there. And I think that's a broader issue with Russell T Davies writing in this era of Doctor Who, is it feels very... there's a lot of instances of making jabs without much of a point or a rhyme or reason to saying it. It's just jab there, like Planet of the Incels. We just want to make fun of the we just want to make fun of incel culture without understanding it or like incorporating it into the story or character properly, because you know that character, God, what's his name? Alan, was it? Alan in the planet of, what's it called? The Robot Revolution, that's it, yeah. Like he literally has a girlfriend. I don't know how much he qualifies as an incel. He might be a little bit of a conspiracy freak, but yeah. We've got a comment. Can't believe I'm a standard moderator, Greaves. Didn't give me the rank of master. Hello, CRISPR. How do you do? Where was I? I was getting sidetracked. Yeah. So it just feels like there's little jabs being thrown sometimes, and it's not completely woven in very well. But lines like that aside, and again, some more sort of dialogue from General Austin Pierce. God, that's such an American name. It's like the most aggressively American name that you could give a character. When he's saying, we used to call them sea devils, but we're better than that now. I say they're Homo aqua because that's what they look like. That aside, I think this is mostly a solid opener. I've got the nitpicks out of the way so that I don't really go back to them. There you go. Yeah, I think it's a mostly solid opener. Sorry, it's just occurred to me you've not seen the other side. There you go. TARDIS smoke. Yeah. It establishes Barclay Pierre Dupont very well, who is played wonderfully by Russell Tovey. I will say. I'm jumping the gun a little bit here, but oh my god, he gives a good performance. Particularly in episodes 3 and 4, you really start to see the character come into his own a little bit, and you see Russell Tovey understand the character better, and the writers understand the character better. Yeah, big fan of Russell Tovey in this show. But yeah, I think he has a really good introduction. I'm just trying to remember everything off the top of my head, so bear with me. The whole thing with what was his name? Roger Trevedick was it the character's name? They said it so many times, so I should know. I think that was quite a funny set of circumstances. Barclay kind of filling in by accident for this guy who's away doing some bullshit. I quite liked that. And I don't know, there was kind of like a really good sense of pace and urgency to that first episode. And yeah, it felt like we were seeing a Disney budget, which I don't think that there was much grasp of that in the RTD2 era of Doctor Who. Like sometimes you look at a shot and go, oh yeah, that's had way more money pumped into it than we're used to. But like, if we're being honest, I think eras like the Jodie Whittaker era most of the time looked better than the Disney era. So I don't know, it was nice to get a sense of like scope and a sort of like grandiose feel to the Doctor Who universe. Though this is just grounded on Earth, exploring where do they go? In episode 1, some really nice location. Anyway, I forgot the country it is, but they go to a very nice sort of like seaside town in a very warm country, and it looks beautiful. And Dylan Holmes Williams, this guy right here, what a legend. Okay, one of the all-time best Doctor Who directors already, I think. And I said this with his work on season 1 or series 14, or season 40. Yeah, amazing. Such a great understanding of the camera and where to put people and objects within the frame, and just such a great instinct for like iconography. I'm almost afraid to bring up any footage for copyright's sake, but let's just turn the audio off there. Is the shot in this? Because it's a fabulous shot of I don't know. I think it was in a trailer. Maybe it was like the initial teaser trailer or something. There was an absolutely wonderful shot of the sea waves crashing against the shore. Let's just scan through this. YouTube, don't ping me for copyright, pretty please. This shot right here. Oh my goodness, that shot looked gorgeous in the show. Such a fantastic angle and like specific location to make that look as stunning as possible. Why am I being recommended Happy Gilmore? I swear it was coming up on like there it is, Happy Gilmore. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, wonderful. Dylan Holmes Williams is knocking it out of the park in this franchise. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they directed 73 Yards and Dot and Bubble in season 1 as well. Just make sure. Yes. Yeah. stunning work. I think the direction of this series is going to absolutely catapult their career. I hope it does anyway, because they are fantastic, and they do nice little posts on Twitter breaking down a lot of their work as well. So that's really fun. Oh, that was quite like a posh way of drinking. I felt like my pinky was out then. Oh, yeah. So great stuff there visually. And just, do you know what I mentioned earlier? The Sea Devil redesign. Well, specifically this design. When this was all we had to go on, I was very concerned about that. I didn't like the idea of that. We've still yet to get any answers on why Salt and Tide look like this compared to the rest of the aqua kind. But then again, I guess there are also like those giant CGI fish that they looked really bad, by the way. But then we saw these things, and these are, I suppose, the proper like sea devils as we know them, or more or less. Yeah, really good redesign, actually. I think it keeps... It's identifiable. It's a pretty drastic redesign from... I use the Black Archive for Doctor Who images, so we're going to check it on here. It's a pretty drastic redesign of... sorry, Season 9. The Sea Devils. This is what they used to look like, for those who don't know. And that's the... are there any better images of them that I can grab on IMDb? No. Oh well. Yeah, it's a pretty drastic redesign from that, but it's just it's identifiable somehow still. I look at that and I go, oh, that's a Sea Devil. So props to the design people on that front, because it's quite impressive to kind of completely rejig a design like that and make it work. Yeah, it's pretty neat. And they were quite terrifying in the story as well. The opening scene with the fisherman and the Sea Devil caught in the net, and then when they come out of the ocean and there's the first sort of conversation on the beach between man and Homo Aqua. Great stuff. For the most part, I loved all of that. So yeah, I think a really good job setting up the Sea Devils and the conflict. Yeah, I don't know. I was a big fan of episode 1. And I liked the reasoning for Barclay being the ambassador for Earth. There we go. Homo Aqua. Yeah, I liked the reason for Barclay being the ambassador at the end, and the cliffhanger. Okay, great. I love that they did that back to back as well, ending episode 2 the same way. That was quite fun. Really good, like, little repetition in the storytelling there. I will say, I kind of wish that Barclay was a little bit religious, maybe, because it kind of feels odd for him to do the condolences Christian thing out of nowhere, and then the Sea Devils point him out for it and say, we want you as ambassador because you showed us respect and kindness. He's like, I don't know why I did that. I'm not even religious. I don't know. Maybe it was a spur of the moment thing, but it was a little bit of a nitpick from me. I just didn't quite get that. But yeah, it was a solid first episode. I thought a good 6 out of 10. It was enjoyable. It was flawed, but it was well paced. It established the story well. And then there was episode 2, which I know people have enjoyed. I'm here to be a contrarian once again. Not a big fan. In fact, I was... Loud car. I was kind of put at ease with my thoughts on the show because, as I mentioned before, I was a little bit going into it. episode 1 kind of put that to rest a bit. I was like, do you know what? I think this is going to be flawed but good. Episode 2, I felt the shift in writers almost immediately. Just to reiterate what I said earlier, episode 1, written by Russell T Davies. Episode 2, written by Pete McTeague or Pete McTighe. I really need to learn. Do you know what? Let's have how to say Pete McTighe. No, I'm not going to rely on that. There you go. Pronounce names. McTighe. There we go. We're going to go with that. Yeah, I could feel the transition from Russell T Davies to Pete McTighe pretty quickly. And I do unfortunately mean that in a negative way. Strangers to the channel, although I don't know why you'd be here, will not know this, but I'm not the biggest Pete McTighe fan when it comes to Doctor Who. I can't say I've experienced any of his work outside of Doctor Who. So all I have to go on, if memory serves, is Kablam, Praxius, and Lucky Day prior to the war between. Kablam, I think, is alright. I think the ending really lets it down, and its politics are quite muddled. Praxius, I think, is unfortunately quite weak, and I think it's a victim of the same problem that is the same main problem of the war between the land and the sea, where it's really trying to hammer in the point, because it's almost like it doesn't think that you're smart enough to get it, which is unfortunate. But yeah, I'm not the biggest Praxius fan. And Lucky Day, go watch my review. I'm not repeating myself. I want this to be good vibes. Let's not talk about that. So yeah, I'm not the biggest Pete McTighe fan, and I could instantly feel all of the issues I've had with his work prior. The dialogue, even though I criticised some of the dialogue from episode 1, the dialogue was just not great, in my opinion. There were so many line blunders. A lot of uses of the word literally as well, which was a little bit odd. From like loads of different characters, by the way. It wasn't just like a signature of one person. So that was a bit jarring. And I don't know. I just wasn't a big fan of like the pacing, and just some of the writing decisions felt a little bit odd to me. Sorry, let me adjust this. Like when Kirby and what's her name? Am I blind? And Barbara, right? Barb. Kirby and Barb are in the taxi, and pre-recorded? Question mark? No, it is not. But oh my god, this is like sorry, this is taking me back to my YouTube premiere days when it used to be a thing that people would premiere their videos. Nowadays, not so much. God, you guys are long-standing moderators. Holy shit. Yeah, sorry, where was I going? Right, Kirby and Barb in the taxi. And it really felt jarring that a mother would send her daughter out into the apocalypse that was happening outside on her own. Because, I mean, I know that she was like sort of staying in the taxi to check if the driver was still alive. But I don't know. I feel like there are more pressing matters as a mother to get your child to safety. He's probably dead. Yeah, let's not wait around for like 2 minutes while your daughter's out there in an apocalypse on her own. That was a bit weird. It felt like they were setting her up to die then as well. Maybe there'd be a bigger conflict between Barclay and the Sea Devils because of that, because the plastic apocalypse that they caused killed his ex-wife. But no, she's just like all right, and it was kind of like a little bit of a waste of time. It didn't even really feel like there was that much tension there. So I don't know. It's just a little bit of a weird stop in the plot. The plastic apocalypse itself looked really good, though, I will say. Hold on, let me just read the chat real quick. Is this about Doctor Who, by the way? Yes, this is about Doctor Who and the new spin-off show that's dropped recently, the War Between the Land and the Sea. I don't want to rate it IMDb. There we go. This show. But we're also going to talk other film stuff shortly as well. I'm going to do a little bit of a recap on what I've watched recently and give some little reviews maybe. Depends how long we're going for. Pretty sure I also have viewers mod 2 from those days. Those were the days, man. I do, for those of you on my channel who don't know, I was in the video editing scene for a while. You can go back and check some of my old edits. They don't hold up. But those were fun days. There's a real community sort of feel to YouTube back then. But yeah, episode 2 wasn't quite my cup of tea. I know that this is like a lot of people's favourite episode of the show so far. I don't know. There were some good moments. I do want to shine a light on the glass of water scene. Very on the nose again, but it wasn't like on the nose in the sense that a lot of modern Doctor Who is very like congratulatory, like, oh, look at us, we're pointing out this issue, do you get it? It was sorry, I'm gonna like tilt this down a little bit. I don't quite like the angle. There we go. Hopefully that's a good angle. Yeah, sorry, where was I going with that? Yeah, it didn't feel like that sort of like patting themselves on the back. Look at this issue. Do you know what we're talking about? Are you caught up yet? Didn't feel like that. It felt like here is an issue that we all know about, we all ignore. Now, bam, let's put it in your face. That's fucking scary, isn't it? Yes, it is. It worked wonders. Yeah, it even had me a little bit tense just thinking about, God, I would not want to drink that. The water from the Thames. Oof. No. So that was good stuff. But otherwise, there wasn't too much that I liked about it. Especially when it comes to... There was a little bit where it's like... Kate Lethbridge-Stewart is asking Barclay, like, why do they want you as ambassador? What communications have you had with Homo Aqua before? And it's like, we were told this at the end of the last episode. Was there like not a communication between writers there? I don't know. Because Salt literally says, you showed us respect. We want you for your kindness and respect. We don't want the words of a politician. So sorry, I'm just going to check. What other things have you done? Because I swear I know. I saw a little bit of Loki. I don't know if I recognise them from that. Cloverfield. I did see the Cloverfield Paradox. Oh, right. What episode is this? Sans Unit. Do I know them from? Were they like a bit part in that? I don't know. Okay. There's some things that I've seen. I've seen them in. Right. Absolute peak editor. Loved the stuff we worked on and your presence in the community. Appreciate that, man. Likewise as well. We did some good projects together, and yeah, it was a very good time to be an editor. Hello. Thank you for tuning in. Just a little bit behind for you, newcomer. We are talking about, that sounded really weirdly formal. We're talking about episode 2 of War Between the Land and the Sea. Well, actually, we're wrapping up on that one. Right, sorry, where was I? I lose track a lot. Yeah, so the glass of water scene, that was very good. Yeah, no, we moved on from that. Little things that I dislike. Yes, Kate Lethbridge-Stewart, why are you chosen to be ambassador? Because Salt said at the end of episode 1 That I didn't like. That was a little bit of like a forced conspiracy mystery thing going on with Unit. I feel like there was maybe a lapse of communication with... It's Rosa. Oh, sorry. Hello, Rosa. Sorry, I didn't see you. I'm unfortunately checking the chat on my phone because I can't figure out OBS, and I don't care to spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes of the live stream trying to sort that out. Hello, Rosa. How are you doing? And the other issue, because I did have another one in mind that I was going to bring up, and now my mind's gone from it. I don't know. My brain's gone blank. But oh no, sorry. It was the little inconsistencies where it's like General Austin Pierce says like they just declared war, and then like we immediately go to more like peace negotiations, and it's like, so are you declaring war or are you not? Or I don't know. It feels like trailer dialogue a little bit, akin to that thing he says in episode 3, I believe, where it's like, a great man once said, "We can be heroes. Let's save the world." But yeah, I will say as well for units, specifically like Kate's involvement in the show. Can you go away, please? Loud traffic. Thank you. For the first 2 episodes, it feels very, very forced. Hello, Debbie. Hope you are well. Sorry, that's a chat reaction. We all drift off to do other stuff, but I'm glad you were doing something I know you're super passionate about. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I always wanted to do commentary stuff. I just could never find the way to sort of like work my way up to it. I mean, I actually started off doing commentary stuff beforehand. But no one knows that except for now you do. But yeah, I did like Marvel commentary videos before I started editing. They got privated very quickly. I was like, God, how old was I? 13, something like that. But yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate that. And no Pinky. Yeah, so we were having a conversation the other day about how was Brits drink tea, and I do not drink like that. I'll do it for you though. There you go. Very very formal. Hello, Forced Dalek. Nice to see you, buddy. How you doing? Just talking about War Between right now. Yes, sorry. Now I'm not sidelined. I'm hopefully caught up in the chat. Just to wrap up, yeah, I think that Unit's involvement felt very kind of shoehorned in the first 2 episodes, particularly episode 1. I know that Barclay is a part of Unit. That's fine. But then you get to the sort of ambassadorial scene at the end, and Unit is kind of just thrown in over a video call, and it's like, where the hell did you come from? That does improve, I think, because I'm going to move away from this now because I've said enough like bad things. I want to talk about what I'm excited to talk about, which is episode 3. Now, from what I'm seeing here on IMDb, this is the highest rated episode, and I 100% agree with that. Right, this may be hot take. This was peak. This was peak shit. It still has its issues, but oh my goodness, what a good episode. And I'm really chuffed to say that because again, I was apprehensive about this show. I had my doubts. Episode 1 kind of brought me up into thinking, oh, this could be pretty good. Episode 2 brought me straight down. I was like, oh no. Especially because episode 2 was written by Pete McTighe, who, again, I've had issues with in the Doctor Who world. I was thinking, if most of the show is written by this guy and this is the example that's been set, it's probably not for me. Pete McTighe wrote episode 3, and it's fucking awesome. And I know there are talks about him potentially taking over as showrunner when Russell steps down. Don't know how likely that is because he's not actually had the sort of like showrunning experience. If anything, he's kind of co-showrunner on this in a sense that he's like writing a lot of it. But I think this is like his trial run, his tutorial, so to speak. from Russell T Davies to maybe prep him up to one day be the showrunner. That's a possibility. But anyway, in the hypothetical scenario that he does become the next showrunner, this is the standard that I want to be met. Did that come out right? Because I've been saying for a while now, Doctor Who should lean into a more mature tone. It doesn't have to be a grown-up show, but just a little step down from Stranger Things, where, you know, there's not any like extreme gore or like swearing or anything, because it should still be a family show. But kids are watching more mature content these days. There isn't a progression in children's television like there used to be. You know, especially for us Brits, we would know you kind of go from CBeebies, CBBC, BBC. You know, maybe you wouldn't probably be watching like BBC, but you know what I mean. There was a clear bridge from young kids to sort of middle of the road 8 to 12 period, and then you'd have like your 12 rated and above, which was why like the BBC is still pretty good, because you've got like your watershed and pre-watershed showings. So it worked, you know, it worked. It was a great system that we once had, and now we don't really have that. You go from something like CBeebies, or something on that sort of that level, like Bluey, for example. And then where'd you go? Because so many of the great children's programs, specifically in that sort of like 8 to 12 margin, they're gone. What happened? Where's The Amazing World of Gumball? Where's Regular Show? Where's the Sarah Jane Adventures? God. So I don't know. It feels like YouTube is kind of raising kids these days. That's probably like a very boomer thing to say, but you know, it's kind of true. You kind of go straight from like Bluey to YouTube to grown-up media. And I think that kids are taking the sort of leap to grown-up media a lot quicker than they used to. And I mean, saying that, I was growing up with like The Walking Dead at like age 8. Or like The Tudors, the show, not like the actual Tudors. Although it was about Henry VIII. So, you know, I don't know, like my sister, she's already watching Stranger Things and The Walking Dead, and she's I don't know how old she is, about like 10, 12, something like that. So I don't want Doctor Who to reach like Stranger Things levels of gore and swearing, but I do think that kids are watching this more mature media, and Doctor Who needs to reflect that a little bit. It needs to be aware that, yeah, we don't have to swear or have like extreme gore, but like this should maybe be a little bit more grown up, just a smidge. And I think War Between is a pretty great standard for that, especially an episode like The Deep. I think it's pretty great saying, like, you know, there's not too much blood and bones and whatnot. I don't think there's been any swearing in it at all. Unless I'm mistaken. I mean, I know that I think Kate says bollocking at one point and she nearly says shit, but that's about it. Anyway, getting sidetracked. I hope that if Pete McTighe does eventually be showrunner, he leans into the tone that he set here and not say episode 2, because this is fantastic. It really, really is. Kate gets a lot more to do in the story and feels like a natural inclusion in the story. It's a shame that her introduction was so rough, but happy with where she ends up, at least. And I love that she's kind of like overworking herself, I suppose, and that's drawn attention to. And I will say, I'm so happy that Gemma Redgrave gets to really flex her acting in this show, because as like all right of a character as Kate Lethbridge Stewart is, Gemma Redgrave's never really had much to do. Like, she gets cross sometimes, she's stoic sometimes, you know, there will be birds. But I don't know, Kate's a little bit of a non-character most of the time, and I'm glad that there's some heightened emotion from her in this show. There's a lot of exhaustion and fatigue, and there's some heartbreak in this show as well. Gonna do spoilers real quick. So, those of you who've not seen War Between episodes 3 and 4 yet, and those of you, well, you should go and watch it. If you don't care or you've already seen it, cool. So Kate Lethbridge-Stewart has a little bit of an affair going on. Not an affair, but a workplace relationship with Colonel Christopher Ibrahim. It sucks. Unfortunately, it is the downside of this episode, and it's why I say that this episode is a bit flawed, because it leans into their relationship a little bit, and to be fair to the show, it is... Oh, sorry. There is a comment here. Should I watch the next 2 episodes? Episode 2 really put me off. Yes, it put me off as well. You should watch the next 2 episodes. I did just say that, but yes, you should. They're really quite good. But yeah, back to Ibrahim. To be fair to this show, it is not this show's fault that Kate and Ibrahim have a relationship going on. That is the fault of Doctor Who. When is it not? When is it not? Hello, Doctor Who fan 91. Lovely to see you here, mate. Just on to episode 3 and 4 of Land Between. I hope you've seen them. Because I did not see your usual 4 a.m. upload. How you do that is beyond me, man. We're all very starstruck by you. I don't know the term. But yeah. Sorry, back to Kate and Ibrahim. Ooh, yeah, it's not this show's fault that they aren't a great relationship, because Doctor Who did not do any of the work to establish any chemistry, any reason that they're together. Kate just kind of dies, and Ibrahim dies, and they're brought back to life, and they hold hands, and then you go into this show, and you're just supposed to accept that, yeah, they've been having this little secret workplace thing going on. Don't worry about it. So that's weird. That's interesting. But this episode really tries to do a lot with that, and to be fair, for the most part, I don't think that it succeeds all too well. I don't like that Ibrahim is basically saying to Kate, look, you're overworked, you're exhausted, you need to stop. Why can't you just stop being the head of unit for a minute? That's not how it works. She can't decline a call. There's one point in the episode where Shirley Bingham is calling her with important information, and Ibrahim is kind of saying no, don't answer that. You just stop being you for half an hour. She can't do that, man. What do you mean? But I don't know. For the most part, this episode really tries to do something with them, and it does succeed in the end, because again, if you've not seen it, big spoiler alert, stop watching now. Really stop watching now if you've not seen it. Because Ibrahim bites the bullet, so to speak. And you know what? Gemma Redgrave sells the hell out of it. And this is the Kate Stewart depth and performance that I've been yearning for a long time. Because... Sorry, there's a little comment here. I'll have to go back through the stream to hear all the thoughts. I'm very curious. To be fair, so far I think it's mostly been stuff that we've spoken about a little bit. I've just kind of touched on episodes 1 and 2. So this is kind of all new stuff for you to hear now. So you're quite fortunate there. Although I did go on a few little tangents, I think. I'm going to need to pause the stream in a minute. I'm nearly out of tea. I was planning to have a little cup of tea while I made the thumbnail, and then I was gonna get myself a fresh brew and then for the stream, but I made the thumbnail a lot quicker than I thought I would. But yeah, Gemma Redgrave sells the hell out of that ending. I hate to say, glad to see Ibrahim go. Nothing against. I'm sorry. I'm really going to struggle to pronounce his name. But nothing against the actor. I don't want to get it wrong. But yeah, nothing against the actor. I am really bad at pronunciation, by the way. It's not because it's inherently difficult. I just suck at saying names and words. Actually, I'm reading a book at the minute, and it's got like a lot of grown-up words in. And I just can't do it. But yeah, it's nothing against the actor. They did the best they could with the material. Do you know, I wouldn't even. That sounds like a backhanded compliment. I think they did quite well, but I'm just glad to see them go. I didn't find their presence particularly engaging. I found their character a little bit grating, especially in what I just mentioned with like, stop being the head of unit for a minute. Like, shush. And again, because it gave Kate some much needed depth. Sorry, I keep forgetting to like address you up there. Hello. But that was all part of an absolutely fantastic cliffhanger ending, which honestly kind of stunned me. This guy, Ted Campbell in the show, oh my goodness, what a betrayal. And it was so well seeded. The globe as a gift, that just made sense, right? Like, I didn't think anything of it, especially because I think it was episode 1. They gave the Sea Devils as a gift this plant from the highest point of the Himalayas, I believe it was. So it didn't feel out of place. It felt like, oh, let's like smooth the waters. Let's give them a little something else to show that we're trying to be friendly even after everything that's gone on. And then boom, oh my goodness, it had me on the edge of my seat. I feel that cliffhanger is the definite highlight of the series so far. I agree. I think that, and you know what? It came after, with the exception of a few little scenes between Kate and Ibrahim, which I've already mentioned. It came after a mostly like pretty flawless episode of TV. There were like, I could nitpick it a little bit, but I was sat there at I think 1 a.m. Watching this episode, and I was a little bit tired. But I thought, I'll get this watched before I go to bed. Oh, it woke me straight back up. It really did. The plunge down into the ocean. Chef's kiss, really chef's kiss, because I felt the claustrophobia and the tension of that so much, and it was honestly kind of really a frighteningly relatable horror, because I am terrified of the ocean. It's such a frightening, huge scale terror of the world. There are so many weird creatures in the ocean. Even something like, I swear, like seaweed can like wrap around you and pull you down, and that's it. It's like there's so many factors in the ocean, but also the vastness of it and the deepness of it and how much is unexplored, and like the water pressure. Which was like the big conflict of this, was like, how do we get people down to like one of the lowest points of the ocean, because the pressure, and that's where a lot of the tension came from as well. It really got to me. And there was the bit where Ted Campbell, it was like feeling the walls, and he was like, oh my god, it's wet, there's a leak. And it was just condensation, thank goodness. But see, that's the shit that terrifies me, because I know Ted's little freak out there, and there was another character who went down with them. I can't see them on here. So someone please let me know in the live chat. But there was another character who was like borderline, like having a panic attack, and it was fantastic. And there was an awesome shot where the camera slowly goes round and round the pod, looking at everyone and their reactions, and it was just so claustrophobic and just so brutally scary. And as I've already said, but I'm going to bring it up again, Dylan Holmes Williams, oh my goodness, sold the hell out of that scene, as did the writing. I think Pete McTighe really delivered some strong character moments there, and just really made that whole situation so believable and so scary. Yeah, episode 3, absolutely fantastic. They were called Ravi. Thank you, Doctor Who fan 91. Appreciated. Yeah, Ravi. Ravi. They were a pretty nice character as well. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna bring it up. I'm gonna jump ahead to episode 4 a little bit. The Witch of the Waterfall. Interesting title for it, but yeah, I do know what that refers to, but still. This episode, again, sold the hell out of the grief of losing those people when Ted activates the bomb underwater, blows a massive hole in the Sea Devil Society. And do you know what? That I thought that Ted might survive that. It would have been a really nice payoff because he doesn't take off his helmet, if I remember rightly. Everyone else takes off their helmet underwater and he says, no, I'll keep mine on. Would have been a great payoff if he survived that because he left his helmet on. But I suppose they're at the bottom of the ocean, so the pressure would have killed him, right? I don't know. But the start of this episode was bleak, and I think that was so helped by the little character beats in the little submarine thingy that they're in. Like Ravi's character when he says, yeah, I'm going to take my family out to dinner, all 19 of them, and I'm paying. Natural exposition, like borderline flawless exposition right there, because it's played off as a little it's just a joke, like bloody hell, you got 19 people, fucking what, that's insane, you can't pay for all of those. And then episode 4 makes you realize why you were told that, and it's like it really sells you on his death and how heartbreaking that was, because like that's 19 people that aren't getting a paid for meal. So that's devastating. Obviously, I'm joking, but all right, the tea's gone. I'm gonna have to after this episode, we're gonna take a 5-minute break. I'm gonna go after I talk about episode 4. There it is. 5-minute break to refill my tea, and then we'll chat about some other stuff because I'm nearly done here. But yeah, beautifully depressing, and. Gemma Redgrave again was kind of the star of the episode. The scene where she's like breaking down in tears in her car, that was hard hitting. And she's looking at the sort of the shrine that's been put up for the victims of the underwater terror attack. Oh man, I think there was a little bit of like an AI critique in there as well that again kind of. Uncharted territory for Pete McTighe here, I jest. Very subtle. Because there's that sort of deep fake going on with Salt apparently taking claim for the attack and killing all those people. Good stuff, because like I think stuff like that is going to happen when you've got AI generated images and videos of people doing things that they didn't do, and like especially the older generation believe a lot of that stuff. I know I've been sent a fair amount of photos and videos from my mum of like, oh my god, look at Billie Piper on set of the new Doctor Who. She's not there, mum. They've not filmed that yet. Oh my god, look, Paul McGann's coming back. He might be, but that video is not real. So yeah, that was a really great addition as well. The main element of this episode that was one of my biggest apprehensions towards the show in the first place was, oh, they're doing Shape of Water, aren't they? This is going to be it. This is the show where man bonks fish. Yeah, that happens. But I'm not as opposed to it now that I've seen it. I think it was handled quite well. And got a comment before I continue it. There was a deepfake plotline in another show I was watching recently, but unfortunately I've forgotten what that was. Oh, that's a shame. Do let me know if you can remember that, because I'm a big fan of seeing like the horrors of that in media as well. And I know it's not the same, but like there's probably a big reason why like Wild Blue Yonder worked for me in Doctor Who was the scene with near the start where Donna's talking to the Doctor and the Doctor's talking to Donna, but they're not the right person, because it's like, oof, it just sends chills down my spine. But yes, man bonks fish. I wish there was more of I mean, maybe I'm in the minority saying this. I wish there was more of like a built up to chemistry between them both, because unfortunately Salt is absent for most of episode 1. Can't complain about that because that's just the establishing of the story and the pace that it went at. Episode 2, Salt felt very serious and almost antagonistic towards Barclay at points. When he's trying to explain that humans can do like stupid things when they're scared, and she's saying like, is that a threat? It felt like there was more tension than romance brewing. I know there was the line where Barclay said, oh, she's beautiful, but I just kind of didn't buy it. Episode 3, the end of, I was starting to be swayed, and then episode 4 really built up that chemistry between actors, and as I said before, I think Russell Tovey has really come into the role, especially in these 2 episodes. I felt like there was a little bit of a disjointedness to his character in episodes 1 and 2. Some things just weren't aligning, maybe in the performance, maybe in the writing. I couldn't tell you, but episode 3 and 4, it feels like Barclay is complete. It feels like he's been perfectly formed as a character, and yeah, I'm locked in. I think Russell Tovey is selling the hell out of it. And of course, again, sorry, I don't want to mispronounce the name, but the actor playing Salt, I probably should have done a bit more prep work before coming into this, right? Sorry, that's my bad. But the actor playing Salt, doing a great job as well. I loved particularly the moment where she's like enjoying glass, smashing windows and screaming at the top of her lungs, and Barclay's like, whoa, we're on the run, what are you doing? And she's like, yeah, but we can, like, do you not feel liberated a little bit? And it's that's cute stuff. I really liked that. So yeah, I don't know, there was some really good stuff with both those characters in this. I just wish that the foundations were a little bit stronger, but that's not necessarily episode 4's fault. Yay! Doctor Who fan 91 agrees with me. That's how you know. That's how you know you're based, when the most based guy, the 91st Doctor Who fan, agrees with you. But yeah, I don't know. I really liked episode 4, and again, wonderful cliffhanger. I don't think it was as strong as episode 3's. That would be very hard to do, because Jesus Christ, that's probably one of the best TV cliffhangers I've seen all year, and I'm not exaggerating. And that's factoring in shows like, I've started watching Dexter this year. Yeah, I know, I'm jumping on the hype train. I've been watching Severance. I've been watching other shows that I couldn't tell you. But yeah, seriously great cliffhanger in that episode. This doesn't quite reach it, but the build-up between both armies pointing at each other, and Kate's kind of going off the rails a little bit. Oh, that was hype. That was so hype. I loved that whole section. That was some truly tense television, and again, kind of built up too naturally. Although this isn't so much of a criticism actually, but I don't know, Barclay wasn't too smart in his plan, was he? Because I kind of was thinking that whole sort of ending act of the episode. Oh, he's playing them. He's setting up this like diversion on the bridge to be picked up, but he's actually gonna like sneak away on the other side of town while all the forces are there and so forth. But no, like, he actually kind of fell for the bait. That was a little bit surprising. But just because he was like being so smart about, right, the room's probably bugged, my phone's bugged, let me use a different phone and phone my daughter's second mobile. I just thought that he might be more calculated with it. Like, oh, he knows all of these things. Surely he'd use that to set up a trap within a trap and flit. But I don't know. What happened for the sake of the plot. I am very interested to see the finale. I wonder how it's going to end. I'm not going to theorize or anything, but I think a lot of great stuff has been done to set up the finale, and it's hopefully going to be quite the spectacle. Just got to wait another week. Yeah. Oh well. I know that people have been complaining about the release schedule with it being like 2 episodes a week, and then just the one as the finale, but I don't know. I get it, they want to get it out before Christmas, and to be honest, I think I enjoyed episode 4 a lot more watching it closely with episode 3. I don't know if the effect would have been the same a week later, so I'm all right with it. I think it's a fine release schedule. At least it's not Netflix. You know, this isn't let's release 4 episodes in this month, 3 episodes in that month, and then 1 on New Year's Day. That do weekly or don't, you know. But yeah, solid so far. Actually, just before I go and refill my TARDIS mug, I want to look at, because 6.4 seems quite low. I know that IMDb. Oh, okay, it's like review bombers then, because I know that IMDb can be quite harsh, but that explains it. I don't know how many of you use IMDb for stuff, but I actually don't know. It's just like top rated movies, because they are so. Does it not come up like that? Okay. Top rated movies IMDb. There we go. They are so stingy with their ratings on here. The highest rated movies are 9.3, which, like, yeah, is really high, but then you realise only 7 movies on IMDb are a 9 or above. And that's including, like, I believe that should be including foreign films and so forth. Yeah, Seven Samurai is 8.6. It's insane. And I mean, you get to the bottom of this list of 250 films. Like, you're at the bottom of 8s. You're telling there's only like near enough 300 films that are worth like an 8 out of 10. Oof. No. So yeah, I was kind of looking at that. I was like, God, I know this website's rough, but that's why. Yeah. Do I even entertain? I mean, are these like reviews? Can you see the reviews? I don't know. I don't know how this website works entirely, but that's a bit insane. Oh, here we go. Can we see? I imagine it's just, yeah. There you go. It's pandering and stuff. Yeah, that's unfortunate. It is insane. I know. It's you compare that to gonna have a rare little. There you go. This is my Letterboxd. You compare that to Letterboxd, but we'll shortcut it, I think, because I just watched a film that was in the top 250. Compare that to Letterboxd. I mean, they're quite stingy as well, but oh, is this on page 2? Okay, sorry, my bad. Gets like the bottom of the top 250 here, and you're still at like a 4.2. And there are, honestly, I know that's kind of similar to, but that's like an 8.4 on IMDb's scale, right? So, and there are honestly like hundreds of films that are in like the 4s. But like the highest film on here, Harakiri, amazing film by the way, 4.7. So, come on, IMDb, you can have a little bit of leeway. I just saw this jump up. Sorry, it's getting a bit sidetracked here, but I just saw this jump up all the way to number 2. I think this was like somewhere around 8 when I last checked the list. This is crazy. I'm very soon to watch this. I've seen the other 2. Human Condition movies. I don't know where part 3 is. It's not as there it is. Part 2, sorry. Yeah, I've seen them throughout the year. I'm very interested to watch this one now. But we'll have a little bit of a film talk later. Let me wrap up here. So yeah, I'm not going to look at any more of those. We know what that's about. I do want to quickly scan some of the ratings or some of the reviews for the episodes. See if we can see like the most popular reviews or something. Just scan over them, see what other people are thinking. And then I'll go and refill my tea. I know I've been saying that for a while now. I'll go 6 out of 10. It's most like... Oh, it's 4 dislikes. Okay. Malcolm Hulke's creation, the Sea Devils, are centre stage in this Doctor Who spin-off. Barclay is the everyman who books taxis, blah, 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 blah. It is a soggy first episode, more interested in setting things up and bogged down in some exposition. A spin-off show without the Doctor needs a compelling central character. Both Captain Jack and Sarah Jane Smith managed it. I'm not sure you can bank on Barclay. I think that's maybe fair to say after episode 1. I think episode 4... maybe I look at Doctor Who spin-offs differently to other people because I'm more interested in seeing the world without the Doctor than I am seeing a character as compelling as the Doctor. Because it's never going to happen, by the way. I mean, this is just me, but the Doctor is one of the greatest fictional characters of all time. You're not going to get anywhere near him. Arguably, maybe these two characters do in terms of like charisma and screen presence, but in the terms of like interest, no, the Doctor's more compelling than most characters will dream of being. I still need to watch Wake Up Dead Man. I've heard mixed things, but I like the look of it. We will have a spoiler-free discussion about that in a few minutes because I want to talk about that film. I really do. I'll keep the movie talk very short though. I just want to give a little bit of a catch-up with what I've been watching recently because really underwhelming announcement. Yeah, but fingers crossed, in the new year, I'm going to have, like every Gen Z person, I'm going to have a podcast coming out called Ben and Ben Talks, where if you scour through to the depths of my channel, you will see a video called Ben and Ben Talks, Army of the Dead, where we basically review Army of the Dead. And it's not quite a podcast, it's literally just me and another guy called Ben sitting unfiltered talking about whatever we want to talk about film related that week. That's kind of the pitch. Maybe we'll have other people come on and join us and talk about stuff. Maybe sometimes Ben won't be there or I won't be there. Who knows? But that's going to be the film discussion stuff. So I want to save a lot of the film talk for that, but and keep this like sort of stream very Doctor Who centered. But yeah, we'll touch on it a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. Back to this. I don't know if the Doctor needs to be the standard for a Doctor Who spin-off. I'm more interested in seeing the world without the Doctor, or a world without the Doctor. I've been saying for a while now, I would love this is only if we had the Disney money. I don't think that the BBC could do it on their own, but I would love to see a Dalek spin-off. Particularly maybe going back to the Paradigm Daleks. I know, hear me out. I love them, by the way, but still hear me out. I would love to see the bridge between Victory of the Daleks and Asylum of the Daleks and how they built up the numbers. And yeah, I want to see the Daleks succeed at stuff and not be defeated by the Doctor. I'm going to go quickly to the shops, but I'll be back in a bit. Awesome. See you in a bit, man. I hope you get some nice stuff from the shop. And not just the boring essentials like I was forced to do the other day. Side tangent. I hate shopping. I love shopping for fun things. I hate food shopping. It's such a... it's a necessity, but Jesus Christ, is it a drag. And the shop environment is just miserable. Anyway, tangent aside. Yeah, I want to see a spin-off where the Daleks kind of succeed at becoming all-powerful and the Doctor can't stop them and whatnot. Especially, I think the Daleks specifically, the Daleks need that kind of reputation booster, because in becoming the most frequently used villain in the show, they're also the most like frequently defeated. They need a win. Give them that in a spin-off show. That is my spin-off pitch. I'd love to see that. But yeah, I don't think the spin-off is about the character. I think it's about the world building. I will say, without the Doctor in the show, there is a little bit of a question of like, where is the Doctor? That's a big issue. I don't think that this show justifies the Doctor not being there. Maybe the last episode will, but you look at like the Sarah Jane Adventures and Torchwood. They're mostly pretty small scale stories that Torchwood and Sarah Jane and her crew very swiftly deal with. So you can kind of understand, like, oh, the TARDIS doesn't feel the need to take the Doctor there because, I don't know, it was dealt with pretty quickly. I know that you can kind of make that argument for the War Between, because, like, well, the TARDIS doesn't need to take the Doctor there because it gets sorted out in the end. But, like, I don't know. Torchwood Children of Earth is another story on the scale of this. And there's kind of a good little pseudo explanation at the end where Gwen stares directly into the camera and says, you know, sometimes I think the Doctor must look at this world and just turn away in shame because it was such a dark event. And I think, you know what, maybe that you know, I can buy that. It's a little thing to be like, maybe the Doctor just didn't show up because this was just so shameful. Yeah, sure. What do you think that about the war between the land and the sea? I don't know. We'll see how huge scale the negotiations go, because right now it does potentially feel like, oh, it's just conversations. The Doctor wouldn't need to show up. We'll see. I don't know. So we'll just have a look at like another like couple these couple reviews here, and then we'll move on from the episode 1. Barclay receives a call. Blah 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 blah. With no new Doctor Who for 12 months, this had to hit the right notes. I hate being reminded of that. That's insanely rough. No new Doctor Who for 12 months. Until next Christmas. Are you joking? Oh my god. This really depressed me because Russell T Davies in 2005 gave us the annual event of the Doctor Who Christmas special. That's been a staple of my life since I was alive because I was born in 2005. So Doctor Who has literally always been on telly on Christmas for me. Until Jodie Whittaker's first season. It was moved to New Year's. You know, fine. They wanted to change the formula a little bit, experiment. It did sadden me because, you know, New Year's is not, it doesn't compare to Christmas. But, okay, I can, you know, whatever. But then Russell T Davies brought us the Christmas slot back, and I was like, yes. You know, it really felt like Christmas was Christmas again for 2 years. Even if the episode was shit, do you know what I mean? Like, it's Doctor Who on Christmas. There's something cozy about that. Doctor Who is a cozy show, after all. And then nothing again. So that's so sad. That's so sad. Anyway, tangent aside. This had to hit the right notes. It's basically 45 minutes of setup, not a huge amount actually happens, so hopefully it'll get going in the second episode. There's clearly evidence of the last of Disney's budget. It looks great, indeed, but Doctor Who recently proved that a larger budget rarely means better episodes. I would also agree with that. Homo Aqua. Sorry, Russell, stop trying to rewrite the show's history. It's a sea devil. On that note, I'm not crazy about the new design. Nothing like those from the past. Why not just create a new subspecies? Too many liberties. I will say I disagree with that. The Homo Aqua thing is stupid, primarily because it's a stupid name. I'm not going to criticize the homo part of it because that means like ape. And people already take jabs at that. Oh, a Homo Aqua doesn't even make sense. Yeah, Doctor Who's been doing that since the 70s. Homo Reptilia doesn't make sense because you're saying like what, monkey reptile or something. It doesn't make sense. That's a blunder from the 70s. We can't change that. Homo reptilia is Doctor Who's name for the Silurians. We can't change that. So something like Homo aqua, like, I don't think it's dumb because the name, like, the definition is dumb because, like, yeah, it means, like, man of water if you're being very vague with it. Like, that makes somewhat sense in the Doctor Who world. I think it's dumb because it sounds dumb. I think it sounds dumb. And, I mean, people might disagree with me, but I think a simple change would be like, a simple fix, I should say, would be to change it from Homo aqua to Homo aquaria, right? Homo aquaria. Because it's more fitting with, like, Homo reptilia. No? And also it just sounds, but it just rolls off the tongue a bit better. Homo aqua. I don't like that. I don't like how that sounds. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. But the other note here is that it's not rewriting the show's history. I think there's an argument to be made that we used to call them Sea Devils, but we're better than that now. I think that borders on a little bit preachy. Not that I disagree with it, but it's clearly trying to make a statement rather than do a thing, if that makes sense. Again, like what I was saying before, the little jabs that are coming from Russell in the recent Doctor Who. But yeah, I don't think there's a problem not calling them Sea Devils because they wouldn't want to be called Sea Devils, would they? It's a little bit insulting to them. I'm not saying it's, like, racist or however it's been pegged, but I think, yeah, they obviously wouldn't want to be called Sea Devils. It's pretty fucking rude. So I don't think it's, like, rewriting the show's past or anything. It's just, like, a more civilized way of referring to them. That's fine. The designs look nothing like those from the past. I would disagree. As I said before, I think the designs are very recognisably Sea Devils while looking completely different from that, which is quite impressive. I think also this design do show up. Sorry to piggyback off of your channel, mate, but if I go over to Force Dalek, he made a little community post here where, as you can see, there are classic Sea Devils there. So that's pretty cool. There you go, give you a little like, mate. So yeah, that's interesting. That's cool that they have a little cameo there. But I think it just makes sense in a way because, well, the Legend of the Sea Devils episode with Jodie Whittaker, that for me was a great, like, modernization of the design. I do agree, like, they're maybe a little bit goofy in some ways. I don't know how serious you could take them in a show like this, which is meant to be diplomatic, and they're supposed to be kind of scary in parts, like when, you know, the corpse is, like, strung up in episode 1 and it gets snatched away, and then again the opening scene with the fisherman and them catching the Sea Devil accidentally in the net. Scary stuff. I don't know if this would scare people nowadays. So, there you go. It makes sense to me. I wondered how long it would take before we got to see Toby's torso. About 10 seconds. I had to put this politely. It's the BBC, so fair to say they've got us all covered. I feel like I meant to be expecting something along the lines of Children of Earth, but sorry, it's just not a patch on that. I feel like that's vaguely... I'm not going to touch on that. But, you know, interesting. It's like very... I think... This is a point. I think people don't understand a 6 out of 10 rating. I mean, like, ratings are subjective. That's a little bit poorly worded, but, like, you've got 5 numbers to say something ranges from bad to mediocre, or, like, when I say mediocre, it's like in the middle, right? Bad, 1 out of 10. 5, it's whatever. 6 to 10. This is the good half. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I was right, sorry. 6 is like, yeah, it was alright. I hate when people use a 6 out of 10 to say it was bad. I don't know if that's what these are meant to be. If these are like, oh, it's mediocre, it's bad. I mean, this describes it as like soggy. And it's a 6 out of 10. 6 is alright. 6 is, I enjoyed it. It was okay. It was pretty good. I don't know. 8 out of 10 here. Interesting characters, beautiful practical effects, along with a highly intriguing plot. I would agree with that, definitely. The War Between starts off very strong. Hopefully it can keep its momentum for the remaining 4 episodes. I agree with that. The momentum was a big part of why episode 1 worked. Only flaws I could notice were some questionable CGI regarding the new fish creatures, as well as me personally missing the classic Sea Devils Homo Aqua return. That's very fair. Nice little review there. I wonder what their problem is. I feel like that's what the majority of the negative reviews are going to be, which is unfortunate because I feel like there are genuinely some things to criticize about the show, and I feel like this is where a little like political tangent. Sorry, everyone. It's not very strongly political. Before you get annoyed. But I think with the state of like culture wars, especially in media at the minute, I feel like as soon as someone says something bad about a progressive piece of media, they're immediately roped into people like, I'm not saying this person, I've not read the review to be fair, but like people like the review bombers who hate it purely because it's woke. Because that's happened to myself when I made a video on the Interstellar Song Contest for Doctor Who, and a lot of people were sort of in the comments being like, oh, you fucking bigot. And I don't think that I said anything bigoted. I think actually my problem was that, or a big problem with the episode for me was that like the episode itself was a little bit bigoted. Or a little, well, maybe not bigoted, but it was a little bit careless. With sensitive topics, and it's like it's kind of unfortunate that this is where we are now, where negative reviews come from it was woke, and then it's like people get roped into that because that's, I don't know, there's no like solution or anything I'm proposing. I'm just saying it's a shame that this is actual like, well, it's not actual, but like this is seen as actual media criticism now. It's just a shame. And it's a shame that other people get roped into that. Anyway, I want to look at episode 2 reviews now, and hopefully I will stop whinging and moaning about things like that. Happy times. I think it's pretty decent. 8 out of 10. I think this is what I mean with people underestimating higher ratings. Like, some people see like 8 out of 10 as like the first good rating. It's like, what do the 7 ratings before that mean? I'd like 8 out of 10 is 8 out of 10. That's good. It's okay. It's pretty good. 9 out of 10. That's really good. 10 out of 10. It's perfect. It's a big leap. I don't know. I think the show has clear intentions with its messages it wants to convey, and I'm fine with it, especially as it doesn't seem massively shoehorned in. Sometimes. And for the most part, each message it conveys makes sense in context and adds good layers to the plot. So on that part, yes, it's good. I think the acting has been okay, though the pacing probably needs a bit of work. I would agree with that for this episode. I think episode 1 is paced well despite narrative issues. But I'd say it's a solid step up from the Doctor Who of recent times. Still tacky at points, but it's entertaining enough and does enough to get a good rating from me and keep me hooked for the rest of the series. I think that's fairly balanced. That's pretty good. Okay. A 4 out of 10. This is my least favourite episode of the series so far. It's actually the only one that I have a negative outlook on. Maybe I need to rewatch it, because I did watch it with someone who wasn't. I think we both kind of parroted each other on issues that we had with it. I don't know. Salt issues an unexpected demand. She wants Barclay to act as ambassador for the humans. Blah, 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 blah. After episode 1, I had some hopes. There was a budget, a good cast, and a fairly nice idea. Unfortunately, this episode was just boring. Time ticked by, and nothing seemed to happen. If I hear the word Homo Aqua once more, I'm going to scream. Too much. Doesn't matter how many times I shout it, they're still Sea Devils. Again, repeat my response from the last review. The world is about to go to war, and the Prime Minister is more worried about misgendering Salt. I don't think that that's true. That's impartial messaging from the BBC. Subtlety clearly wasn't on the menu. Albion, former So, okay. That's not true. I don't think that they're worried about misgendering Salt. I think because it's Salt is a foreign creature to humanity. They're basically an alien species, minus the interplanetary context of being an alien. I think the PM in the show is more so saying, is it a she? I don't know what the fuck it is. I think that's fair. I will say regarding the Prime Minister in this show, a little bit weak. Maybe that's because I'm comparing it to Children of Earth, to be fair, because I think the Prime Minister was brilliantly cold, cold-hearted political in that show. I think they're trying to go with a similar thing here. It just feels like repeating. You can't fix what's not spoken. It was perfect before. You can't like parrot that again and make it as good. I don't know. Maybe they're not trying to. It's just like Prime Minister doesn't want to get their hands dirty and stuff. I don't know. It's fine. It's not like a big criticism. I don't think that the PM's written very well. It's not that. I just they're not the best part of the series for me. Far from. Sorry, this was boring. We knew it would be heavy on messaging, but I hope for a bit of spark. Sorry, Russell, have you forgotten how to entertain us? It's so static that even the swooping camera shots become irritating. Would heavily disagree with that. I think the camera work has been pretty fabulous in this show. Hopefully we'll get some action soon. I get that a little bit. I mean, hopefully they're not just against it because there's messaging in it, like full stop. Yeah, it is very heavy-handed at parts and very unsubtle at parts. But yeah. Big 9 out of 10. Episode 1 was great, but this was clearly a setup episode. This episode continues its strengths and adds some much-needed action sequences along with some extremely tense moments. Add in more screen time for our unit cast and some interesting character development for both Barclay and Kate. This show is off to an amazing start. Very fair. Well, man, I don't think that the unit cast really get much good stuff until episode 3. I found them a little bit grating in episode 2, actually. Particularly, again, I forgot the character's name. Sorry, I'm just going to have to go back and check this. Where are they? We'll see. Oh no, I don't think that they're showing up on here. There we go. Steve Chesney. His character was quite frustrating in this episode, I thought. Their dialogue was all just like questions repeating what we already knew. It felt like we were back with Yaz and Ryan from the Whittaker era again, just like repeating stuff that we already knew. Oh my god, is this thing that? Do you know what that is? Who is that? But yeah, fair enough. I think it's pretty decent. Again, with the 8 out of 10 thing. That's not decent, that's really good. I think the show has clear intentions with clear messages it wants to... Oh, we've read that already. That would explain it. That would explain that. Sorry, my bad. Oh my god. Okay, that's where I've seen them from. That's referring earlier in the live stream. I knew that I'd recognised that actor there. That's why they are Tisha Jones. Until we actually saw her here. One-dimensional and unbearably stiff. She gives us nothing. But she's not the problem. Can act his way out of a paper bag. Unfortunately, that's what he has to do in this episode. How's it that RTD can create years and years in It's a Sin, which is both absolutely brilliant with terrific writing, phenomenal editing, and production values, and yet still insist on giving us substandard crap? Even the acquisition of Disney money can't excuse this. A lot of dislikes there. Okay, that's not very substantial, but I would agree Russell T Davies has done political dramas a lot better in years and years, and It's a Sin. Although, yeah, Pete McTighe is kind of the main writer for this show. It's just kind of spearheaded by Russell T Davies. So, meh. Yeah, Russell Tovey is fantastic in this show. I don't think I'm sorry if I butcher this. I don't think that Gugu and Bartha Raw is one-dimensional and stiff herself. I will say I don't like the walking that she does. Whoever choreographed that, I'm not a fan of that. I think this should be more like flowy and fish-like a little bit, not so stiff as a robot. I don't think her performance is the issue in these first 2 episodes at all. I think it's just that the character is maybe a little bit one-dimensional and stiff for the first 2 episodes. But the performance is great, I think. But, yeah. Here we go. If the first episode was more about the setup, the pacing was better in the second episode. I would disagree, personally. Although there is suspicion about how Barclay ends up as the ambassador for Earth, Barclay is concerned that he might be out of his depth. That's just a bit of a recap. It is all perfectly serviceable, but again, I did not find it that exciting. There were good set pieces such as the plastic falling. Oh, sorry. It's just not grabbing me too much. Fair enough. Perfectly fair enough. Right, I want to see the reviews. Okay, I'm gravitating towards this one, hell yeah. Wouldn't say that. That's quite an extreme statement. But let's go along with it. This episode is unlike anything seen in the Hooniverse at all. It contains all the marks of great television, galvanizing action, suspense at every corner, and enough emotions leave you crying for days. I assume that's meant to say in just 3 episodes, Davies and McTighe have managed to yet again build this universe to new horizons, adding a mature dimension very rarely come by. Its messages against industry are very clear. It stands strong with a bold statement, protect the environment and every awe-inspiring creature it holds. The story is beautifully character-focused, where Davies is known to shine. It was McTighe who wrote this story, though. Investing a great sense of love into Barclay, Salt, and especially Doctor Who legend Kate Lethbridge-Stewart herself. It is weird. The RTD2 era was, in my opinion, the worst era for Kate Lethbridge-Stewart so far. I thought her characterization was awful. There will be birds. You know, sometimes I think we're all your children. Oh, someone please rescue Gemma Redgrave. I think she's been given some of the best material the character has ever had in this show, which is a fascinating paradox. I will say, recently I've been getting into the Unit spin-off series on Big Finish, and that's really good for Kate. Just a fabulous display of the character, and just a pretty great spin-off in general, really. And I think that more people need to go and check out that audio series. I was a stranger to it for too long, and I kind of turned my nose. Oh, I wouldn't enjoy a Unit spin-off. Imagine how boring that is. No, it's really good. Not only is this a marvel of character work crafted and expertise by 2 insane geniuses, it looks and sounds sensational. Directed by Dylan Holmes Williams, each shot has been carefully constructed with utmost mastery, presenting a rich and vivid atmosphere to nourish every pixel beautifully. That's very dramatic review writing, but I'm here for it. Alongside Lorne Balfe's exceptionally sensational score, which elevates each and every second of the show, this show is nothing less than a triumph. Excellent. Weirdly enough, I've not been paying too much attention to the soundtrack. Maybe I should have been. Why has this got so many dislikes again? God, no one likes these fucking reviews, man. Yeah, that's very fair. I think this is maybe... well, I mean, their opinion is their opinion at the end of the day, so fair enough. I don't think it's unlike anything seen in the Hooniverse at all, but I do think that this is a marvellous piece of television. Yeah, fair enough. Wonder what this review could be about. I will say there was a line, whether it was in episode 2 or 3, I can't remember. There was a very on the nose line about colonizing. I think, again, I'm going back to it. I think that Russell needs to let the points breathe. The points that he's making and the points that his writers are making do not need to be signposted. It doesn't need to be someone holding up a sign saying, "Do you get it? Do you get the point?" Audiences are smart enough to understand the satire that you're presenting. Audiences are smart enough to understand the allegories in your story. You don't need someone parroting what the subtext is. It defeats the point of subtext. I don't know if that's a thing. And well, that's, I mean, that's just true though, isn't it? It's funny that that's been said for like, oh yeah, the messaging is like, we have a technically left-wing government in power right now, so you'd think that they'd be for that, but I don't know. I'm not gonna go into all that. I'm not Mr. TARDIS. Recap of the episode. The big problem for this episode is that nothing much happened as the submersible descended. It really was a washout until the last 15 minutes. Disagree. I think the character work in the submersible was fantastic. Absolutely great stuff. And final episode to look at before we take a little 5-minute break. Next week needs to go some hard work. Salt is set to be taken, again, recap, arguably the best of the 4 episodes so far. It's just a bit messy. I enjoyed the scenes between Barclay and Salt, unexpected but entertaining. I agree. I really do agree. I didn't really want a Shape of Water story. If those of you who don't know, Shape of Water is a film where a woman falls in love with a fish creature. Yeah, I didn't want a Shape of Water story, but we got one. And hey, it was all right. I think in this episode particularly, it kind of worked. I was here for it. The rest somehow felt a little messy. You have to wonder who on earth the incompetent Prime Minister was based on. I wonder. Maybe my media literacy is just suffering today. I don't think it's that obvious. I actually think the Prime Minister is a little bit undercooked in terms of the satire and the character. I don't know, maybe I'm just not too well versed in the Prime Ministers that we've had, but I don't know. I don't think it's that blatantly obvious. I think it honestly could be a little bit more refined. Calling a fish sushi is offensive, just as calling the sea devils homo aqua. At this rate, having a character called Doctor might become offensive. See, yeah, again, this is more like a kind of stupid criticism here. Like, it's an intelligent species. Do you think, like, a rat would like being called a rodent if it could, like, think? Probably not. Do you think... I don't know. It's like a character is actively mocking Salt by saying, "Oh, she's sushi, mate." Like... Yeah, it is degrading in universe. Like, you're not, like, it I don't know, it's no different. Whatever. Barclay Pierre Dupont, what a stupid name, says Kate. She wasn't wrong, a stupid name and a mugger. Great media criticism. Guggen Bartha Raw gave a very strong performance. See, yeah, there you go, I agree. She actually managed to elevate the episode. I think so too. Someone please get poor Kate an 8-shot Americano. She needs it. Agreed. Question though, after an assassination attempt, would she be out alone? I thought that as well. That's a valid little nitpick. Yeah, hugely frustrating. There's some good stuff, but there are too many holes and sloppy aspects that got through. Okay, some invalid points, some valid points. Although saying this, I feel like Kate is used to like alien incursions and assassination attempts like all the time. She's kind of just a badass bitch, to be fair. Like, I don't think that she'd be that fussed, maybe, I don't know. Read that one. It looks like Sir Keith Spears was playing Prime Minister Harry Shaw, like a harp from hell. Seems that both of those generals have an agenda of their own. This will bring them on a collision with Kate Lethbridge-Stewart, already reeling from the death of Colonel Ibrahim. At least the intrigue on land and their false diplomacy was more interesting than what was happening beneath the water. I felt the relationship between Barclay and Salt was waterlogged. It was good to see the Tide come in. Oh yeah, I didn't even speak about Tide. I guess there's not much to talk about yet. Interesting setup for an antagonist. We'll see where it goes in the next episode. I don't know. There's not enough to comment on yet. That's interesting. These two reviews are very at odds. I'm in the middle. I thought that both storylines were equally interesting. I like it, but it's just too unrealistic. Interesting. I like it. It's entertaining. It's fun and quite funny at points. The acting is decent and the cinematography as a whole is all right, but where it keeps letting down is the realism. So to avoid spoilers, I'll keep it broad, but there are so many points when you think, really? Countless moments are just too far-fetched with the actions and decisions of characters. Is that grammatical? With the actions and decisions of characters are just so manufactured to move a plot that they are completely devoid of realism and reasoning. Another debate on its own is really whether or not the human race would respond in this fashion at all or be much harsher in response. Yeah, that's kind of fair. I think that although the Sea Devils have shown themselves to be very advanced and powerful. So maybe we'd be more inclined to be diplomatic because they could fucking wipe us out, especially after the plastic apocalypse. But yeah, maybe they would be a bit harsher. There are clearly some people that want to be harsher. I think because UNIT are spearheading things a little bit, then the Doctor's influence is maybe kicking in, and the diplomacy is a bit heightened because UNIT know. I don't know. I hope you know what I'm trying to say there. But yeah, it's a question for sure. It's a question. And I think we've gone through all the reviews there. Right, so that's the War Between talk done. I might have another little general Doctor Who chat in a minute, but for the time being, I'm going to go on a short break to refill my tea. So I'll see you guys in a minute. Okay, hello. We are back, I do believe. Told a little fib. I did refill my tea, but I also went to grab a little bit of chocolate from the shops. Oh yeah, we are back. Okay, cool. Twix, you can't go wrong. Leave me alone. I've not eaten for most of the day. So, since we finished chatting about the war between, I was thinking we could move over to hello again, Force Dalek. I was thinking we could move over to a little bit of a film chat. Sorry about my chair. Sorry for the whole setup. It's very plain. I'm sure you're aware, very white, and this chair's very rickety. This isn't the setup that I'd like to have, but as a student living in halls, what are you going to do? So, yes, this is my Letterboxd account. Yes, that is Matt Smith. Doesn't he look lovely with his balloon? Yes, these are my top 4 films. There's a little bit of a caveat for them. These aren't what I think are the best films ever. They are all personal favourites of mine, but this is kind of like one of my favourites at the minute. I've seen it a few times. Just really can't stop thinking about it lately. This is just an amazing film that I rewatched semi-recently, and it was just beautiful. This is one of my all-time favourites, I won't lie, and that is my favourite film. Pennywise, he does look a little bit, it's the red balloon, man. It's just, okay, so I was going to do a little bit of a catch-up on this month. What have I watched this month? Not a lot. It's mainly been Doctor Who. But we'll get around to that in a minute. I'll just talk about these. So, we'll start off, I guess, with the Spider-Man trilogy. Oh, it's just fabulous. It's just fabulous. Yeah, there you go. A little glance at my reviews. What a trilogy. This was my first time watching the films with my girlfriend. She'd never seen them. They're absolutely lovely films. The ultimate camp. Even the third one, I think, is kind of great. It does have its problems, but like Spider-Man, like the Doctor, is just such an inspirational character. And I think when you have these beautiful moments coming from like influences and outside voices from Spider-Man 2, Aunt May, the Citizens of New York, it's beautiful. I keep doing that a lot. I want to watch It, Welcome to Derry. Yeah, do you know what? Let me look this up, because if I'm not mistaken, there's a 3-season plan for this. I've not seen any yet, but that's pretty good. A 7.9, especially because, again, this has like a 6.4, which is kind of crazy. Review bombing. What are you going to do? Yeah, I liked It Chapter 1. At least when I first watched it. I've not seen it since, like, near enough when it came out. The same with It Chapter 2, actually. I've not seen that since. I think I snuck into the cinema to watch it. Not a big fan of It Chapter 2. I think that's honestly kind of more the book's fault than the film's, because it's just not as interesting when they're grown-ups. But oh yeah, so I also have a hoodie on now. It's kind of spoiling my attire a little bit. It was only like a grey shirt before, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not the biggest like enthusiast for the It series, but I've heard many good things. Apparently the show is peak. Yeah, exactly. I've heard many good things about this, so I was kind of dissuaded because of my thoughts on the films, but this is getting a lot of good press. Season 2 is in 2027. Oh, man, I miss when shows came out every year. That's crazy. I'm not even reading the synopsis. Sorry, if you could say 9.6. That's high. That reminds me, actually. I can't remember the exact release date, but I know that the Boys and Invincible are coming out in the same month, and they're airing like pretty simultaneously next year. That's going to be so good. I do think The Boys has let's pull it up. Let's give you some visual stimulus. Stimulus. I do think that The Boys has declined in quality somewhat since it started. It's insane that's surely not the highest rated episode of the show. Surely not. Boys is April. There you go. Yeah, I think Invincible March, Boys April, right? Or is it the other way around? Yeah, I think it's declined in quality somewhat. Season 4 was a little bit rough, and I wasn't big on Gen V Season 2. Sorry, I'm just responding to a message there. Important stuff, I promise. But yeah, and Gen V Season 2 I wasn't big on. But hopefully the final season brings it back. The trailer doesn't have me too enthusiastic, but we'll see. This is the real goat of television right now, I think. Or at least mainstream television. Holy crap, I was sleeping on this show for a long time. Yeah, fair enough. Because I watched the first season roughly when it came out, loved it. I was hooked straight from the end of episode 1, as I'm sure anyone who's seen the show was. Sorry, that was a bit of a slurp then. But I wasn't too thrilled by the first half of season 2 when that came out. In fact, I wasn't even all that eager to watch it, but I don't know why. But then it took me a long time to get back to it. From the mid-season break of season 2, I didn't pick it up again until like a few months ago. That was such a mistake. But at least I don't have as long to wait for season 4 now. Because I'm so excited for that. So that's going to be a great little era of TV next year. Oh man, the Boys season 5 and Invincible season 4. That's going to be great. I think there's another show coming out around that time as well, isn't there? Like Eric, it might be a Marvel show. I don't know. I don't keep up to date on Marvel stuff much anymore. I think I've seen all of the films more or less since Endgame. Let me check that. There's got to be like a list of there's got to be a list of like all the MCU movies, right? On here. There we go. I'll just go when they released. Yeah. So I know I've seen all of them up to Far From Home. I didn't watch Black Widow or Shang-Chi. If those are worth watching, let me know. I've heard not good things. I've heard some good things. Eternals was alright. I don't think it was as bad as everyone says, but yeah, I've seen No Way Home. I've seen those. I know. Yeah, okay, so I'm pretty up to... This doesn't have Deadpool and Wolverine on as well, but yeah, so I'm pretty up to date. Pluribus is pretty entertaining. I think you'd like it. Yes! That's another show that's coming out. That's what I forgot about from this year. Yes, Pluribus. I really want to watch Pluribus, but I am currently making my way through this fucking masterpiece. So I'm nearing the end of Severance. I think I've got like 4 episodes left, maybe. And then when I finish this, I'm making my way onto Pluribus, or I should say, me and my girlfriend are watching Severance, and then we're gonna watch Pluribus afterwards. Which hopefully, by the time we're wrapped up on this, Pluribus will be like all out, so that we can binge it. So that should be fun. Also, hello, Star Joker. Or George, as I know you as. Nice to see you here, man. What do you think? Look at my TARDIS mug, man. I've been flexing this a few times in the video, but there's my TARDIS mug. Okay. So that's a little bit of TV talk. So yes, I want to get on Welcome to Derry and Pluribus, definitely. Oh yes, and Stranger Things, the end is coming out, isn't it? Hot take, I wasn't so... I think there's 2 more Pluribus episodes. Oh yeah, I should be good. I should be alright. to get on that in pretty good time. Yeah, this is unfortunate. I'm not the biggest fan of Stranger Things season 5. Hot take. I've seen the mug. I'd love one. You know what? It's a good mug for tea. It holds a pretty good amount of tea. God, that's where we're at. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not the biggest fan of Stranger Things 5. I haven't been the biggest fan of the show actually since season 2. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't think that season 3 was particularly good, and you know, people were raving about season 4, but I wasn't too into it, to be honest. But yeah, season 5, I don't know. It was entertaining, so I guess I can't knock it, but I have a lot of narrative issues with it. TV's been a bit of a mixed bag this year. And what else am I watching other than something I'm going to bring up in a minute? Dexter. Yes. Again, I said this earlier. I know I'm kind of jumping on... Oh, this layout is very strange. I know I'm jumping on the trend, jumping on what's popular because Dexter Resurrection came out and everyone's raving about it. Yeah, that is why I'm watching it. Although my friend has been trying to get me to watch this for years, a close friend of mine, who also got me onto some great shows I'll talk about in a minute. Dexter, I need to pick it back up because I've got 1 episode left of season 1. It's right there, it's top rated. And I've not got back to it in like a month. I really should. But yeah, my friend was trying to get me on this phrase, who also got me into this amazing show called From, which deserves higher rated episodes than that. This show is spectacular. I've made a video on why you should watch it before season 3 came out. Season 3 is ridiculously peak. That the existence of season 3 is all you need to watch it. Another show he got me into was Snowfall, which is another one of my top shows of all time. What a fucking awesome show. I want to make a video on this one day when I've rewatched it and it's a lot more fresh in my mind, because this is peak television. This, you're all going to hate me for saying it, this is better than Breaking Bad. Yeah, it is. Sorry, that was really rude. This is better than Breaking Bad. I think Breaking Bad's great. I think it's also really quite overrated. I don't think it's the best show of all time. I think people just need to watch more shows. That's a hot take. Snowfall's amazing. That single opinion there is going to just completely destroy my viewer base. From a guy who has Stranger Things in his top 10 shows ever, even 5 is a... Oh, sorry, 5 is a bit of a stinker. Damn! I am worried that I influenced your opinion on that a little bit. I hope I didn't. Please enjoy shows at your own leisure. But yeah. I know you like Dexter. I just can't prove it yet. Oh, God, Dokes. What a goat. Dokes is such a goat. Yeah, sorry again, responding to a text on my phone. I'm trying to avoid doing that. The temptation's just right there because that's where I've got the chat pinned up. Actually, can I No, I can't. If I want the chat to be up, I've got it. That sucks. Oh well. That was a great freeze frame of me there, by the way. Oh, God. Okay, anyway, TV talk over with. Spider-Man trilogy. Absolutely good shit. These are the 2 most recent films that I've watched. The Elephant Man. There you go. That's a little glimpse of the review there. I'm going to get away. The Elephant Man. Long time coming that I've not seen this. Do you know what? I haven't even watched that much of David Lynch. This is the really pretentious talk that no one wants to hear. David Lynch, very famous experimental film director, and of his films I have seen 1, 2, 3. I've also seen the Twin Peaks pilot. Haven't really made it past that. I need to one day. Don't tell me. I already know. There are too many shows in the world. In fact, I have a list on my phone of shows that I need to get around to at some point, or I need to watch with my girlfriend at some point. Let me see it. Order it. Right, here it is. So the lineup of shows that we've got to watch right now is once we finish Severance, Pluribus, then The Sopranos. So excited to watch that. Then a rewatch for me of Chernobyl, which is one of the best miniseries of all time. Then a rewatch for me of Snowfall. And then we're planning on watching The Wire, which I always thought for some reason was such a long-running show, but it's only 5 seasons. So that I'm so happy to hear that, because I had the image in my head for so long. It was like 20 seasons or something. I don't know why. Following that, a rewatch for me of Lost, because it's just one of the most beautiful pieces of television ever made. And then following that, maybe a rewatch for us both of Breaking Bad, and then a rewatch for my girlfriend of Better Call Saul, because I still have yet to watch it. I know. Shameful. I went through a good few years of not being much of a TV person. I was primarily a film person, and it's kind of going the other way around now. In fact, you can see, if I pull up my film diary on Letterboxd, you can see how stacked a month like September was here, or like even August. You know, like such a long stretch of movies. And compare that to my December. It's not going well. But as you can see, there's some Doctor Who serials in here, so clearly TV is taking the lead. But yeah, other than that, the I've just got scribbled down here like shows that I want to watch at some point, and it's a hideously long list. Twin Peaks, Band of Brothers, Succession, Fargo, Boardwalk Empire, The Queen's Gambit, The Bear, Banshee, Peaky Blinders, Mad Men, Narcos, Fleabag, Mr. In Between, a rewatch of Mr. Robot, The Thick of It, Yellowstone, Fallout, Westworld, Andor, The Expanse, Hannibal, The Haunting of Hill House, The Haunting of Bly Manor, basically anything that Mike Flanagan's made. Too many goddamn shows, man. There's too many of them. Too many shows to watch, and it doesn't help that I'm already like in the swing of watching so many different shows. I'm rewatching The Leftovers with my friend, which is a phenomenal series, one of the best shows of all time. I'm rewatching the revival series of Doctor Who with another friend who's never seen that. I'm watching through all of classic Doctor Who. I've been doing that for the last 2 years or so. It's just too much, man. It's too overloaded. Anyway, The Elephant Man. Brilliant film. Really quite heartbreaking. Beautiful performances at the core of it. A phenomenally well-paced film as well, especially for such a slow character piece. And that is the sign that I'm hungry, so while I'm chatting away, I'm going to have a chocolate bar. I hope you don't mind. This rustling probably doesn't sound very good on camera, unless you're into like ASMR. Even then, I don't know. Right, what do you guys think? Because this is this Twix, right? Is there actually a science to it? Do you think that the left or the right Twix, is there a difference? Because this is what people talk about this all the time. Oh, the left one's better, the right one's better. Is there a better one? I don't know. How many logs do you think you'll get in 2026? Think you can beat me next year? Oh God, that's a great question, because this year, I don't think that's the exact number actually, is it? Let me look at my stats, because that'll tell me. Okay, 2025, 2024 and 2023, right? So my 2023 was 464 logs. My 2024 was 381. I was still ahead of the curve. I wanted to be above 365 at least, like more than one a day. This year, I'm not going to manage it unless I can watch 50 films in in 15 days. Maybe that's it. 15 days, 50 films. Can you do it? Probably not. Then I've kind of failed this year. I think this is going to be my lowest year of films since 2021, which is like when I first properly started getting into films, as you can see. My 2022 was 429. So I was well in the swing of it by then. I was watching upwards of 14 films a week. Fucking hell. I used to be so on it, man. What happened? What happened to this guy? I don't know. But yeah, Elephant Man, great. This, and I know that you didn't like this, George. I know that you didn't like this, or at least you gave it a 3 stars. Where are you? You're somewhere on here. I'm not gonna reveal your account actually. I know that you didn't like this as much as me, and you're wrong. You're wrong. Playful banter. Obviously, it's your opinion. Sorry, I'm really fucking hungry. Okay. This is going to be really painful to sit through. I'm so sorry. Right. What a film. Amazing performances by all of the cast. And such a well-constructed mystery as well. I was not so hot on Glass Onion because it felt, and I think that a lot of people agree, because this is what it's gone down to a 3.9 now. Okay, this is still at a 4. The original Knives Out film, because it's so good. It's such a fantastically constructed plot and mystery. It all comes together in the end. The plot twists are fabulous. In fact, there's a big subversion of the murder mystery halfway through, and it's brilliant. Knives Out, Glass Onion, not so much. This thing pulls the rug out from under you, and not in a good way, I don't think. It's a plot twist that you literally could not figure out ahead of time unless you took a wild stab in the dark. And I mean wild. This is like, yeah, plausibly, you could guess the plot twist if you were guessing something completely ridiculous and out there. Like, but it's in the same vein as, like, you know, if you put a monkey with a typewriter and gave it an infinite amount of time, it would eventually recreate the works of Shakespeare. But did it do that for any, like, actual rhyme or reason? No, it was just a fucking coincidence, right? Not a big fan of the plot twist in this film. Wake Up Dead Man takes us straight back to that classic Knives Out subversion. It's great. In fact, I love that Benoit Blanc, not the protagonist in this film, he just kind of appears. That whole first act without Benoit Blanc in, beautifully done. What an amazing first act. In fact, the only real criticism I have of this film is that the first act drags along a little bit too long. If it was like 2-3 minutes shorter, I think this would be like a perfectly paced film. That aside, the first act reels you in so well. And then I love, even following that, it's still Father Judd's story through and through. Whereas like Glass Onion and Knives Out, like, yeah, it's like technically the story of like Marta in the first film, and I think it's whatever that and Andy. It's technically their stories, but it's like it's told through the avenue of Benoit Blanc. Whereas in this film, Benoit Blanc is like a circumstantial character. He's just kind of there, just going along with it and working things out in the background. The emotional and narrative core is with Father Judd rather than the detective. Brilliant subversion there, and it works wonders to rope you in, because the characters are like somewhat interesting in these first two films, but particularly Knives Out. I think the characters are really well done. But the Glass Onion, the characters are somewhat interesting, but I'm not that engrossed in them emotionally. In this film, I really am. Yeah. Love Wake Up Dead Man. And it's also shot gorgeously. I think that the camera and the lighting work is phenomenal. And the little changes in the flashbacks, where I'm not going to spoil anything, but you're told one thing through you're told one thing about a certain character from one character's perspective, and the lighting and the colouring is like red and stark and dangerous, and you're told that story from another character's perspective, and it's a lot softer and more like realistic, and it's like seeing an emotional memory in that way is fantastic. It's so well done. Sorry, I'm gonna take a minute to like eat this chocolate bar, because otherwise I might just die of starvation, man. So I'll shift that out of the way. I don't know how much you can like hear me eating. 397 new logs for me this year. Haven't logged Uncle Buck yet since I'm travelling. Okay, what is Uncle Buck? I've not heard of that. Let me look this up. Very very interesting film. Very interesting sounding film anyway. Is that Macaulay Culkin? That's awesome, bro. I didn't know that Macaulay Culkin did another film with John Candy. Wow. Sorry. John Candy. Did I not say John Candy? Did I say something else? So I meant to say John Candy. Wow. That poster looks very menacing. Sorry, I had to do a double take of the synopsis there because that poster is so like weirdly menacing. I just like, is he supposed to be like kind of a scary presence in the film? I don't know. You'll have to tell me that. Star Joker. So John. Oh, it's a John Hughes film as well. Interesting. John, maybe because outside of the obvious two, I haven't seen any of his filmography. Let me just cross out these. 16 Candles is in my watch list, although, oh, crap. It's not too highly rated, but don't take that into account. Somewhere. Planes, Trains and Automobiles. People talk about that quite a lot, don't they? I feel like that's a pretty frequently mentioned movie by grown-ups. Old people. Uncle Buck, there you go. I'll put that on the watch list. There you go. There you go, Star Joker. Weird Science is in the watch list. Cool. She's Having a Baby. Don't really know anything about that. I'll put it in for the sake of it being John Hughes. The watch list conundrum, am I right? Just like adding things in all the time. And then this is like kind of lowly rated, but it's John Hughes, we'll see. That looks like an insane body of work for like such a short span of time. Dude just worked his ass off throughout the 80s and then just fucking vanished. Alright. Oh, did he... Oh, he died quite young, though. He didn't even make it to 60. Oh, that's unfortunate. Well, yeah, what, he would have been, like, what, 34? When making 16 Candles, which actually is, like, it's pretty good age to start directing, like, proper films. The Breakfast Club and Weird Science in the same year, and then the next year, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Wow. That's insane, man. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Wow. So that's what, 5 years on the trot, consecutive films. And 2 in the same year. That's crazy. And then that in 91, 2 years later. And then he just stopped. I imagine there was maybe some like health related reason for that. Because he was like, what, 41 when that came out? And then... well, maybe not, I don't know. Sorry, let me read this. It's about a slacker who gets called in to look after his nieces and nephews when his brother's wife have to go away for an emergency. Got you. Okay, so is it just kind of like a bit of a comedy about like how he sucks at looking after them? That's kind of the vibe that I got, but Jesus, man, that poster is so fucking scary. And then like, why he's holding a drill there? That's like, this is like being marketed as a horror film by Letterboxd. Maybe that's just me. All right. Last little thing I want to touch on here on Letterboxd anyway. I guess I can't filter it. Right. I want to talk about the Tom Baker era of Doctor Who. Because as you can see, I've been... sorry, do you like my little review there? Stupid. Because I have been, as I said, making my way through classic Doctor Who. for a while now. In fact, sorry, I'm just going back to the start of Tom Baker's run here. In fact, how long have I been watching? Because I've been logging it all on Letterboxd. It's a great service, man. Oh, sorry, this is taking a minute to pull up. My stream is like quite far behind, so I'm just looking at it now. I'm just talking about Tom Baker there still. The drill does have context. I want to know what that context is. Right, sorry. So I've been watching Classic Who. I properly started making my way through it July 2023. I know I watched a few stories before that to like rope myself in. But I've been in order watching it all the way through since July 2023. And that includes the missing stories. Don't you think I've been skipping out on the Telesnap reconstructions? Because I haven't. And yeah, I've only just got to Tom Baker's run. And I'm going to do a quick little segment just talking about what I've watched so far. I've literally just finished season 13 as we speak. Okay. Robot. It's alright. It's it feels like a John Pertwee story. I guess to sort of ease in Tom Baker, because if I'm not wrong, this story was still cooked up by the production team that spearheaded John Pertwee's run before the Ark in Space, his second story, transitioned over to the new guys. So that makes sense. I'm right. I'm gonna hold my hands up, and I've had this conversation with Doctor Who fan 91, who is mostly the 91st Doctor Who fan of classic Doctor Who, the 91st fan of classic Doctor Who. Got there in the end. More so than New Who, although he is based and likes all of Doctor Who, as you should. I nearly missed my mouth then. Oh my goodness. The unfortunate drawback of neurodivergency is sometimes the tea just goes nowhere near your fucking mouth. Oh my god, that would have been embarrassing. Anyway. So yeah, I've been talking to him recently about how I think that season 12... Hold. Don't use these just yet. Hang fire for 1 minute. I'll explain myself. I don't think that season 12 is a great season of Doctor Who. Oh, I'm sorry. I think that it's pretty good. I think it's got some good stories. Honestly, the Ark in Space is really good. It is home to Genesis of the Daleks. Let's not forget that. And Revenge of the Cybermen, I think, is overhated. It's pretty good. And Sontaran Experiment is fine. But that's the thing. I think it's a pretty good season. I don't know how or why it's in such high esteem with fans, because it's like, it's an alright season. I think the Ark in Space is quite inspired though. It's basically Alien before Alien existed. It's incredible. But yeah, Genesis, I don't need to say anything more about that. This I find overhated. Also, hello, you made dessert. That's okay. I have also just been eating like some Twix because I'm really, really fucking hungry. In fact, I might have another bite now. Sorry, everyone. I know I'm like mid-tangent, but I'm so hungry, man. Okay. After this, I'm going to make dinner. It's 8 o'clock. Revenge of the Cybermen, I think, is pretty good. The weak link is the Cybermen. Is this guy right here. I can't zoom in on the image. Great. This guy. I think they're too emotional. And, I don't know, they're more hellbent on, like, destroying than upgrading, which is always a pitfall with the Cybermen. I think they can be generic-ish villains and just, like, want to kill people and shit, or, like, they're used to just, like, kill people and shit, because you can't make every Cyberman story about upgrading. It would just kind of suck. but I don't know. I just don't think that they're used properly in this. There's not like any real mention of converting. There's Twix on the dessert you made. Let's go, Twix buddies. Will this stream be archived or will it go when you're done? I have to go. It will be archived if I know how to upload it. I'm gonna look that up at the end of the stream. Actually, oh my god, does it automatically get junked? I don't want to be like classic Doctor Who. Don't get rid of me. But yeah, I don't know. I think this is pretty good. But season 12 as a whole, it's just not the best. I think it's quite overrated. Season 13, on the other hand, oh yeah, this deserves its reputation. Terror of the Zygons, I actually think is like, it's alright. I don't think it's actually so great. Will auto archive. Oh god, how do I save it? Oh no. Yeah, Terror of the Zygons, it's alright. I think it's a little bit overrated, to be honest. But the Zygons are a absolutely awesome design for a creature. And it's the last appearance of the Brigadier for a long while, until I think the early 80s. So that's both sad and but it gives it some meaning, I suppose. Planet of Evil is similarly like it's like a cool concept. It's a really cool concept, but it's like a pretty serviceable story. The same as I'd say Terror of the Zygons is pretty serviceable. It's just kind of like a monster run around kind of thing. No, oh wait, no, you don't got to do. Oh, okay, so it just kind of saves. Okay, phew, thank goodness. Because I know like YouTube used to work like that, right? Like you'd live stream and then it would like not save unless you deliberately uploaded it or something. Yeah, Planet of Evil, it's alright. This is when we start getting good, baby. You already know. You already, because Pyramids of Mars, it's a classic. It's an absolute classic. Enough said. So much better than Empire of Death. Android Invasion, I think, is so overlooked. So just people chatting in the chat. There we go. Yeah, this is so overlooked, man. I think people say that it has a great first episode hook and then it just meanders. I don't know. I disagree. The first episode hook is fantastic. The first episode is definitely the highlight of the story, but I think it's got a good pace going forward. I really enjoy it. Brain of Morbius is really great as well. Although there's that one moment in it towards, you know what I mean, there's that one moment towards the end that's just fucked everything for Doctor Who since. Especially when you would get an immediate contradiction to it in The Deadly Assassin. And then it gets re-canonized in 2020. But otherwise, this story holds up fantastically. Is that even a word, fantastically? I think it is. The Sisterhood of Khan are a really cool idea, especially like a race that like communicates and works with the Time Lords. That's pretty inspired. This is back when Classic Who was thankfully like adding to the Time Lord mythos rather than taking away. So that's fun. Morbius himself is a great Time Lord villain as well, and just an amazing like concept behind the character. I wish that Time Lord villains had that kind of like power and mystique these days, that they could like generate a cult of people and stuff. Nowadays we've got like the Master, Rassilon, and just kind of people, evil people. Yeah, I love Reign of Morbius. That's a fantastic story. But in my opinion, the peak of the season, the Seeds of Doom. Oof, why have the Krynoids not come back? That's what I want to know. Why have the Krynoids not come back to the show? There's some amazing model work in this story. There's some amazing, like inspired special effects for the time. Tom Baker and Elizabeth Sladen are like at their absolute best here. The pacing is amazing. The way the story moves, going from the Arctic to this house and shit. It's great. Very reminiscent of The Thing I think it was like partially inspired by The Thing from Another World as well. Obviously not the John Carpenter version because that came after, but yeah, wonderful, wonderful stuff. What a great season of Classic Who. And I've been told by some that I'm nearing the end of Classic Who's golden age, which is a shame. But then I look at some of the stuff coming after Talons of Weng Chiang, because this season looks pretty good. I am partially through Mask of Mandragora, not so hot on it so far, but I've heard very good things, and I saw this when I was a kid. When I say that this is marked as watched, I swear as a kid. Same as Deadly Assassin. I don't think I've seen the Talons of Weng Chiang. I'm gonna unmark that. But yeah, from what I remember and what I've heard, this is a very good season 14. Following that, I'm not so sure when I'm going to have to watch stories like Invasion of Time, The Sunmakers, Underworld, Power of Kroll, Destiny of the Daleks, Nightmare of Eden, The Horns of Nymon, which is infamous. I'm kind of dreading it. But let me know what you guys think. Is it as bad as I'm expecting it to be? I sincerely hope not. But yeah, that's like my little Classic Who catch up. I will also say the John Pertwee era. Let's get Spearhead from Space. There we go. You can see lovely. Why is that backdrop not John Pertwee? Why did I change that, man? Yeah, that's what I want. This guy. What a goat. My classic Doctor, I think. I absolutely love the Third Doctor. You know what does get slept on, actually? Let's see. I'm trying to shortcut this by finding... because he is in... I'll tell you what. I'm gonna... This is like the laziest shit ever, man. Rather than just searching something up. There we go. Jumping about. The William Hartnell Doctor Who era is so slept on. It's so insanely slept on. This era of the show is ridiculously peak. Like, ridiculously peak. Particularly his first season, From an Unearthly Child to The Reign of Terror. Absolutely incredible. I mean, I'm in the camp that I think An Unearthly Child is amazing all the way through. The first episode is obviously the best, but the remaining three are nowhere near as bad as Get Painted, I don't think. This first season is back when the show did historicals well. Like Marco Polo is... it's great. The Aztecs is quite interesting. It's got an interesting moral dilemma at the core of the story. The Reign of Terror is thoroughly entertaining as well. It's about until like the Romans is pretty good. The Crusade is pretty good. The Time Meddler, well, I'm not as big a fan of it as some people are. It's still quite entertaining. So when we get to the Myth Makers, curiously, I have liked this. I thought it was like okay. I don't know why I liked it. I thought it was like quite a middle of the road story. It's around then that the historicals start to go down. Until you end up with The Smugglers, which is the unfortunate low point of the Hartnell era, I think, and very unfortunately his penultimate story. Although thankfully it is followed by Absolute Peak. This is an amazing story. And you can see why following this you had... no, that's way ahead. Following that, you had the Highlanders, and then after this, the historicals were just cancelled because something along the way went wrong. Where like stories like An Unearthly Child, Marco Polo, The Reign of Terror, the Romans was so like fascinating in so many ways. How did we get here? I don't know, but anyway, that's a whole different discussion. I just want to say this is an insanely good run of Doctor Who. In fact, arguably the most consistently good that the Daleks ever were. which I know, yeah, it was at the height of Dalek mania, like the most popular the Daleks ever were. But this, oh my god, these 4 stories are insanely good. The Daleks, a little bit too long, potentially, but like so good. I just wanted to see if Doctor Who and the Daleks was put at the bottom there. Let me bring that up. I've not watched this in a while, but should I? Should I watch this? Because I last watched this when I was a kid, and I'm just worried about the memory being tainted more than anything else. I know it's just like an adaptation of this, and just condensed into 82 minutes, which somehow the Daleks in colour couldn't do. Not taking shots. But I don't know, should I give this a rewatch? What do you guys think? Let me know. Yay, nay, should I watch this tonight maybe? In fact, Force Dalek, what do you say we do a little watch along of this in your server today? That maybe could be quite fun. Some movement going on upstairs. This, everyone knows, is great. The Dalek invasion of Earth. Still some amazing shots in this to this day. How they got away with this in the 60s is beyond me. The chase, I think if you go into this with the right headspace, you will find this great. I think this gets a lot of flack because it's like funny and the Daleks are treated as a joke a little bit, but like it's a good contrast to the previous 2 like really scary, macabre stories. Let's have a bit of fun with them. Let the children enjoy the Daleks a little bit more, run around doing funny things. I actually saw this super recently with my girlfriend when we were in a hotel. That's a shame. Would you? I mean, I imagine you probably aren't down to rewatch it, but I don't know. Maybe I could stream it to other people in your server. I don't know. But yeah, I think the chase is really good fun. Just enjoy it, man. And the ending part with the Daleks and the mechanoids, about as grand as an action set piece from the 60s is going to be. It still holds up quite well. It's brilliant. This is peak cinema. How they got away with a 14-parter. A 14-parter? Is it 14 or 15? Because there's the Feast of Stephen and Mission to the Unknown, and I don't know if people count them in the general grouping. But this is like so good. It deserves the reputation it's gathered. And you know what? If you've not consumed this in any way, because like most of it is missing, but if you've not consumed this in some way, you need to go and like get the novelization, or like an audio book, or like an audio retelling, or the Telesnap reconstruction, and stick this the fuck on, because this is what a story like Flux wants to be. This is epic, and it came out in 1966, and it's still fucking peak. It's peak epicness. Yeah, the 60s Daleks. If like, this era was just the best for so many things, and experimentation as well, because the show was still finding its footing. So you had stories like The Celestial Toymaker, which are a little bit more far-fetched and out there, or like Planet of Giants, which isn't like necessarily good, but yes, if you wish, please feel free. I might do that. I might just do that. I might stream that tonight. I should make myself some dinner. Maybe I'll just stick on some chicken nuggets or something, because this live stream's gone on for 2.5 hours. So, well, I started this at like 6 o'clock. Now it's 7:30. Still haven't eaten. Great. I have eaten something today. Don't worry. I'm not like neglecting myself. Don't worry. I'm okay. I just haven't had my tea. Yeah, I just love how experimental this early era, like something like The Edge of Destruction, just a little like filler story, a bottle episode is what it would be nowadays, and it's great. I adore the balance of like trying to make a historical educational series and trying to blend that with some hard sci-fi and some at times fantasy. it's a miraculous run of television that it's a fucking wonder it ever stuck. But like, holy shit, I'm so glad it did, because it's just so worth watching. Anyone who's not gone through or combed through the Hartnell era, you need to, because it's, and you know what, it's so worth it. Seeing and hearing like terms and like familiar things be brought up for the first time. It's like going back and watching the Sea Devils and seeing the sonic screwdriver be like used for something properly for the first time. I know it's used in a Troughton story first, and it's literally just a screwdriver, which is wonderful. Or like, you know, seeing the Master for the first time, seeing the Daleks for the first time, or the Cybermen for the first time in, God, one of their best stories still to this date. Yeah, awesome stuff. So yeah, I'm a big Classic Who fan these days, and I'm still looking forward to the rest of the series. Although I will say I'm sad to be leaving the golden era. There's still some stuff I'm looking forward to, particularly, weirdly enough, the Sixth Doctor's era. It's cited as one of the worst, but when I was a kid, there were a good few Sixth Doctor stories that I enjoyed, namely like Attack of the Cybermen, Revelation of the Daleks. I even liked Time Lash as a kid, and Trial of a Time Lord. I watched on repeat. I think I took that box set of Trial of a Time Lord on holiday numerous times. Yeah, it's wonderful stuff. So I'm looking forward to revisiting that. Some stories from the Fifth Doctor era. I'm not looking forward to the Fifth Doctor himself, but like the era as a whole, I'm excited for. In fact, let's just have a little look at the Fifth Doctor era real quick. See what stories await me on here. Is there another? Did they do another minisode? Why is that called something different to Destination? They're the same. Is that a follow-up? I'm gonna need to look this up in a minute. What? Okay. If those of you don't know, they did like a little minisode for the season 21 Blu-ray release. They did a little minisode where an older Fifth Doctor and Tegan run into some Daleks. It's very simple, and it's just like a cliffhanger that will probably never be resolved. But I don't know. Maybe that is a resolution. I don't know. Let's go all the way back. He's done a lot more stuff than I thought. That's on here anyway. Yeah, Kinder and Snake Dance I'm looking forward to. The Visitation I'm looking forward to. Earthshock, of course. Arc of Infinity I'm weirdly curious for, because Omega in the Three Doctors is awesome. Omega in the Reality War is not awesome. This version of Omega, no idea, so that'll be fun. The Mordrin, the Black Guardian trilogy, that'll be interesting. Five Doctors is always fun to watch. I think that might be my first proper Doctor Who story that I remember seeing, because that came in the DVD files. Did anyone get them when they were a kid? I love the DVD files. I really want to watch Warriors of the Deep as well. I want to know how bad it can get. And Resurrection of the Daleks should be a great watch as well. And Caves of Androzani, which is peak. I haven't changed the poster for this. Please say there's another poster for this. That'll do. Although that's quite nice. Oh, I'm going to go with that one for now. Being Letterboxd patron is so good, man. Let me reload you. There we go. Look at that. That's lovely. But yeah, I think that about rounds up what I wanted to talk about today. Yeah. So, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to. Force of habit. Sorry. So, loads of little figures of me. There we go. Let me put me front and center here. Hello. Yeah, so that's about everything that I wanted to talk about today. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream, those that tuned in. If you're rewatching this, or you're just watching through it when it's been uploaded, oh, sorry. I hope you had a nice time watching this, combing through it, putting it on while you do whatever you do. And yeah, hopefully I'll do more streams soon. Sorry if it was a bit shaky. I'm not used to doing this kind of thing. But yeah, it'll be nice to do some more of these. Hopefully got some in the pipeline, maybe with some guests, so we'll see about that. And yeah, again, thank you for tuning in, and until the next time, guys, take care of yourselves. I've been your host, Mr. Greaves,